On this episode of the Oklahoma Breakdown with Ikard and Lehman, presented by Riverwind Casino, the first college football playoff rankings are out, and OU is number 8. We break down why. In the National College Football Roundup, we discuss Monkeygate and preview the big games in Week 10 of college football. We wet the beak with Sunday's matchup between the Browns and Bengals, and we finish up by giving you our winners and losers of the week. Please download and subscribe to the podcast, rate it 5 stars, and write us a good review. Follow the show on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Just search Oklahoma Breakdown on any of those, and you'll find us. All right. Our man Michael Hosty will kick this thing off. It's time for the Oklahoma Breakdown. It's a beautiful Thursday, November 4th, and you're listening to the Oklahoma Breakdown with Ikard and Lehman, presented by Riverwind Casino. Riverwind is Oklahoma City's premier casino experience, and your health and safety are Riverwind's number one priorities. There are so many reasons why Riverwind is consistently voted OKC's number one casino, but it all starts with their amazing variety of gaming thrills and excitement. Riverwind's beautiful award-winning environment plays host to more than 2,800 of the latest electronic games with a huge selection of table games, including blackjack, blackjack match, roulette, and Teddy's favorite, craps. No matter what your game, Riverwind has it in spades and hearts. And Fridays in November from 6 p.m. to midnight, you can win your share of $115,000 in cash, bonus play, and prizes. And Riverwind's $115,000 Let's Get Digital promotion. Preliminary drawings are every 30 minutes, and grand prize drawings will happen at 11:59. If you need help finding your way, just visit riverwind.com. Riverwind Casino, still the one. Now, we're recording this Wednesday night. Please leave us a 5-star review and a nice comment while you're at it. And Ted, birthday shout-outs. They're rolling in, man. Yes. I had to limit it to 3. Happy 5th birthday. Yes, you heard that correctly. 5th birthday to Jensen Heald. Happy birthday, Jensen. What's up, little man?
Happy birthday, Jensen.
Happy 30th birthday to Andrew Shorosh. I don't know if I'm saying that right, Andrew. Shorrosh. Shorosh. Shorosh?
Yeah.
Shorosh? Shorosh. Whichever it is, Andrew, you're the man. Appreciate you. And happy 22nd birthday to Devin Miller. Happy 22, Devin. Awesome.
Nice.
Good stuff.
Very nice.
Those are really starting to roll in. Yeah, I had to limit it. It's getting a little out of hand, which
We're
is...
going to have to cap this thing daily at 3. Is that a limit? Get them in fast?
I think that's the best way to do it, right? Cap it at 3?
Cap it at 3.
Okay. Well, I wish OU would have been number 3. They were number 8. What a transition. What a smooth transition. Now, yeah, first college football playoff rankings came out Tuesday night. Georgia 1, Bama 2, Michigan State 3, Oregon at 4, Ohio State at 5, Cincinnati at 6. Ouch. Michigan at 7. What? Oklahoma at 8. Wake Forest at 9. Notre Dame at 10. And Oklahoma State and Baylor at 11 and 12. Ted, the Sooners are 9-0, and they're number 8. Why? What was your reaction? I want to know your reaction.
My reaction is my wife. I wasn't home yet. My wife sent me a text message and said, OU number 8. And I said, I was like, what do you mean 8? She's like, they're number 8 for the playoff. And I was in disbelief. I thought, well, surely you just can't look at the TV and see the number next to their name properly. There's no way they're at 8. I was shocked, totally shocked that they were number 8.
I thought they would be at the absolute worst. I thought it was 7, right? You and I, we had some conversations privately.
6?
We're like,
I thought 6.
I thought it was going to be 6, but I was like, dude, there is a world where there's 7 and we're all freaking out. I did not think Michigan was going to be ranked ahead of them. I did not. So I saw it, and I was actually, full disclosure, I was watching it on my phone during a nonprofit board meeting. I didn't feel good about it, but I was like, I have to see it. I have to see it. But it was surprising. And I think one of the most surprising things is when you see that there are 4 teams that have a loss that are in front of them, I think that it kind of tells you a lot about what the committee thinks of OU right now.
Yeah. Well, it's weird to be undefeated and have teams ranked in front of you, but we haven't looked good. We don't have a great win. I understand it to a point, and it will eventually play itself out. At least I think. I mean, I guess I'm actually also, for the first time ever, going around scenarios in my head of, are we guaranteed if we go undefeated? Are we sure about that? I think the answer to that is yes. But nationally, people are seeing the same thing we're seeing. So I think there's two things. I think number one, you've got how we've looked this year. We have played a bad schedule. Whenever you look at it, I mean, some of these teams are good. You hate to say that everyone just sucks or whatever, but it's not a schedule full of top teams. We all know that. And in a lot of those games, we flirted around way too long, gave teams that are far inferior to us opportunities to win it late. And that means something. Unfortunately, in college football, whenever you've got a beauty test going on, that means something. The second thing, I think, and it shouldn't factor in, but I think what we've done on the playoff stage is a factor.
I agree. I think that's so. I think Bama is the opposite, right? There's this big reaction. Even Reese Davis was like, oh boy, Bama at 2. Here we go. But it's the exact opposite, right? Bama has, whether it's right or wrong, right? This is supposed to be, hey, we're only focused on this year. That's impossible to do. Like, there's human beings on the committee. They can say whatever they want. Everyone knows what Bama has been for the last decade, right?
Yeah.
So when they've got the loss to A&M, you know, they've got a couple good wins, right? Ole Miss, Mississippi State, some solid wins, but it's Bama. I mean, that's why they're 2. I had people ask me, what? How is Bama, Alabama number 2? I was like, Nick Saban's their coach, and they got a ridiculous amount of good players that are all going to go play in the NFL. What do you mean? How are they number 2? It doesn't mean it should be that way, but I think the point you're making about about OU can be applied to Alabama just in reverse, because I think at this point, if you haven't realized it yet, like, the committee is not going to give OU the benefit of the doubt because of what has happened the last couple of times they've been in the playoff, right? It hadn't been pretty, man. I mean, it just hasn't.
So I know Alabama lost in the inaugural playoff to Ohio State, who went on to win the championship, and they were up big early in that game. Looked like they were going to kill them and end up losing it. Have they lost another playoff game since then, other than the championship?
I don't think so. I don't think they've lost in the semifinal, have they?
That's what I'm trying to think. I don't know, and I don't think they have. And again, that factors in. That means something.
Yeah, and I think you just have to look at who OU is beat and how the committee values that, right? I was looking at, what is OU's best win? Texas?
Maybe K-State.
K-State? I mean, nobody OU has beaten, which is everyone they've played, right? They're still undefeated. They're still 9-0, but no one the Sooners has beaten was ranked in the initial college football playoff rankings. So one of the things that, and it's weird because it is clear, you see where they have Oregon, where they have Michigan. Like, it's clear that the committee puts a little more weight into good wins than it does into losses. And I think that's interesting because you look at Oregon, I mean, they lost to Stanford. What's Stanford, like 3-5? Like, it's not a good football team.
Right.
At all. But it's outweighed by the best win in all of college football, right? Going on the road and smacking Ohio State. The one problem that I have is that you look at OU, it's like in my opinion, it's almost as if the Kansas game is being treated as a loss, essentially.
Yeah.
Which you and we were very, I think we made our feelings on that game very well known on here, but they didn't actually lose the game. Now, was it an awful performance? Yes, but I thought it's interesting. It seems to be that OU is being treated as a team that has lost a football game, and they haven't, but they also don't have any impressive wins. So you look at them at number 8, and you're like, I mean, what can you really say? And I
Right.
feel like that's how a bunch of OU fans reacted to this.
Yeah. It's kind of funny because what they said, when everyone was talking about it after they announced the rankings, it's like, how can they put us at 8? Are you kidding me? But they said pretty much the same things we've all been saying about OU, and it's like, you can't say that. Only we could say that about our team. You can't say that about us.
That is, yeah, that's it. But my favorite part now, one of my favorite parts about OU fans is just how much they're just ride or dies, right? The same people that have been talking about how bad the defense sucks and all of these issues that the teams have, they've been pushing it out on social media like this team's no good, blah blah blah, all this stuff. All of a sudden that switch flips when they get disrespected. It's like, how dare you say that about my team? It's just, I don't know why people don't enjoy the college football playoff rankings reveal show. It's awesome. I love it. I like the reaction that it causes. People, especially people that work in sports media, that are like, "Oh, these don't matter." I'm like, "What are you talking about? This is like the most entertaining thing to talk about all year long. How do you not enjoy it?"
I'd like to see the ratings for the show. The ratings for the show have to be great for what's typically there for like a non-sporting event that's in that time slot. It probably just absolutely kills it. And yeah, it's really weird. College football is insane with the way that we pick our champion. There's no doubt about it. And when you look at Cincinnati at 6, I'm sorry, but yes, money matters in this. ESPN is in charge of it. Okay. They pay like 400 and something million dollars a year for the broadcast rights of it. You're damn straight they're going to pick who's going to be in that thing for ratings, right? And it's not going to be Wake Forest versus Cincinnati. I don't care if they're both undefeated and nobody else in college football is undefeated. That's not going to happen because they got to generate some revenue and no one cares about Wake Forest versus Cincinnati. That's harsh. I like Cincinnati. I think Cincinnati's a great football team. I do. But that's just the harsh reality of it. The committee and ESPN will do everything in their power to keep them out. And as long
They
as they can do it without it being blatantly obvious.
Yeah, there were some people that thought like, oh, maybe they put them in now and then they kind of phase them out, knowing what the teams in the Big Ten are going to have to go through, knowing that OU still has Baylor, Iowa State, and Oklahoma State on their schedule. But no, they were just like, you know what? We're going to stick you in no man's land at 6 to where, you're not getting in. I mean, you're not getting in. And maybe the part that hurt them the most wasn't being in at 6, was the fact that they didn't rank SMU and they didn't rank Houston. I don't think those things are coincidences, Ted. And that's the funny thing about this is they have their top teams, and then it's like they rank the bottom half of it to prop up the teams they have ranked highly. It truly is art. It is art what this committee does.
Yeah. I mean, you're exactly
Like
right. You've
Mississippi
got,
State. What? They've lost 3 games.
I know, number 17, Mississippi State. They are not in the AP top 25.
They shouldn't be. They're not a very good team.
I, I don't know why they are. It's weird. Uh, they got absolutely destroyed by Alabama, and I guess you could say like they're 2 points away from beating Memphis and like a field goal away from beating LSU, and they'd be a one-loss football team. But who cares about that, right?
They
Here's
lost to
what I think is
Memphis.
interesting. Yeah, Memphis. Here's what I think is interesting. Wake Forest is at number 9. And I'm not sitting here trying to tell you that Wake Forest should be ranked higher than number 9. But what I'm telling you is that crap schedule that Wake Forest is playing is the same crap schedule that Clemson plays every year. And if Clemson was 8-0, guess where they would be ranked right now? Number 2. That's right. So,
yeah, no, I completely agree.
God awful schedule. ACC is terrible. I agree 100%, but that's the same ACC that Clemson plays in every year.
Sam Hartman's kind of fun to watch, by the way. If you haven't seen their quarterback sling it, he's pretty fun to watch. But I don't anticipate them navigating the ACC unbeaten.
They got North Carolina, NC State. I think, do they play Clemson? I think they do play Clemson.
Clemson at Death Valley, and then they finish up with BC, and then they got to play the ACC championship game. I don't see it happening. I kind of hope it happens because let's embrace the chaos. Why not?
Agree. Yep.
But I don't see it happening. But I think I feel like I've been saying it for a while now. I feel like last night was just the thing that cemented this in my mind, and that OU's got to go undefeated, right? I mean, and some people have said, hey, they've gotten in with one loss in the past. Yeah, but that loss was early in the season. We're in November now. You lose now, you're out. You're out. And I know that's weird because, one loss is one loss, but there's a difference between losing to Texas in early October and losing now. You just can't. It's simple. They got to beat Baylor. They got to beat Iowa State. They got to beat Oklahoma State. They got to win the Big 12 championship game. They got to they got to win those 4 games. And
here's something interesting. Speaking to that point, since Oklahoma, other than 2014, they have never lost a game after the initial poll of the college football playoff. Have not lost one. 14 is the only year. 15, they lost to Texas. 16, they lost is
that the Ohio State year?
Ohio State and Houston. 17 was Iowa State. 18 was Texas. 19 was Kansas State the week before the playoff. And then 20, obviously we lost the 2 games to start off the year. Never lost after the initial playoff poll. So that tells you that you lose early and you're on the winning streak coming up. Like, you lose after the poll is out, you're going to get hit way harder. And here's another thing that I think is working against OU. Whenever you look at the poll, pretty much all the teams that they're competing against there to find that number 4 spot, except for Cincinnati, they all are going to play teams that are ranked higher than them in the poll right now. Ohio State going to play Michigan State. Alabama's going to play Georgia. Michigan, who's at 7, is going to get to play Ohio State. Oklahoma's not going to be able to play anyone that's ahead of them. That hurts them in competition with those other teams right there at the top, I think.
Yeah, no, I completely agree, but I also think that OU's got the easiest path, right? And I know that Oklahoma State's a really good team. Baylor's a really solid team. Iowa State, I still believe, is a good team. But it's not like they got to go through Georgia or Bama to get there. So it's just what's got to happen, right? And I'm with you, but I still believe there's no way in hell a 13-0 Oklahoma isn't in the college football playoff. There's just no way in hell. I don't care if Alabama gets beat on the last second field goal in overtime by Georgia. They're not getting in as a 2-loss team over a 13-0 OU. It's just it's not going to happen, man. So, but at least they know, right? You know where you say if you're Lincoln Riley, and I'm sure that he has sent a edible arrangement to the College Football Playoff Committee, thanking them for the chip that they just provided that football team. But I think it's very clear now, right? You got to win them all. Now that's always the goal, anyways, right? It's not like you go into the year, you're like, you know what? I feel like 12-1 is where we want to be. Like the goal is always to win them all, but it's got to heighten the sense of urgency in that locker room. There's no doubt. And some people say, oh, we don't look at the rankings. That's a lie. That's a damn lie. Every guy in that locker room saw that and went, oh, that's some bullshit. 8?
Mm-hmm.
And
you saw a lot of guys on social media saying things along that line. There's no doubt. Let me ask you a question, though. We're both shocked by number 8. If you throw out like who's earned it, forget records, forget who you beat, forget who you've lost to, just straight up, where do we rank as far as the best teams in the country?
I think they're a top 6 team in the country.
They're definitely ahead of Michigan, in my opinion.
I think they're a better football team than Michigan. I think OU Cincinnati would be a good game. Yeah. Now, I think Caleb Williams, like Desmond Ritter's more of a veteran guy, but like I think OU's got an advantage at quarterback in that game. I really do. Mm-hmm. But you look at, like, I don't think they're as good as Bama. This is where I'm at with OU. I'm going to need to see them play a team that is on a similar talent level as them or greater and beat them before I pick them to win one of those games. Mm-hmm. Right? So that's Bama, that's Georgia, that's Ohio State. And really, other than that, I think they could beat every other team in the country. Right? Like, I think OU would handle Oregon just fine. Like, I think that would be a great game. I think too. Oregon's.
I think here's how I would pick it right now. I would say Georgia's the best. I think Alabama's the second best. I think Ohio State's the third.
I'm with you.
I would probably pick Oregon as the 4th best team in the country, Cincy the 5th, and Oklahoma 6th.
I'm fine with that. Yeah, that's probably exactly how I'd have it. I would love to see Cincinnati and OU play.
Yeah, I would too. And let me just be clear that I would rank those teams ahead of us. That doesn't mean that I don't think we can beat it.
Right.
I think we have a chance to beat them. I think right now we're better than Michigan and Michigan State.
I agree with that. I think clearly the physicality of Michigan State with what they can do in their running game would be, it would be a tough test for Oklahoma's defensive front, right? Especially with some of the undersized guys they play. But
you got to be two-dimensional to beat Oklahoma, I think. You got to be able to make them pay in the passing game, and I don't know that Michigan State has that.
Yeah, I'm with you. Not a ton of faith in Peyton Thorne. Mm-hmm. So I think OU's the top 5, top 16, right? I just don't think I think there's a pretty significant gap between them and Georgia, right? You watch Georgia and you're just like, even with Stetson Bennett at quarterback, you're just like, damn, look at the guys they got at the line of scrimmage. That's the thing for me is the guys that Georgia and Bama, not as much this year, but like last year, that O-line from Bama, OU just doesn't have that. They don't have that. You don't look at OU's defensive line and go, whoa, right? You look at that Georgia defensive line and your eyes are just wide. You're like, damn, that's almost what like an NFL defensive line looks like. OU doesn't have that. And I would have to see them get on a field with that team and beat them to believe that they do it. Like, that's just where I'm at with it.
Yeah, no, I agree. And one of the other things that we're doing with Oklahoma admittedly, is I'm like OU at their best is 6, in my opinion. Like if I was saying like where they actually rank, throw out resumes. But I'm also projecting like them at their best, and I haven't seen that yet. Like I'm saying they're capable of something that I haven't necessarily seen yet. So that's one of the problems I have. Like I think the Baylor game coming up in 2 weeks is going to be like everything that we've got to win that game. Like everything. We've got to play our best football, and if we don't, I think we lose. I mean, we don't have a very big margin for error right now.
So it's interesting because now I've heard a couple people say this week, it's like, well, Oklahoma's only played one complete game, and that was against Texas Tech. And I'm over here like, complete game? They couldn't run the damn ball. Like for 20 minutes, I bitched about it on here that they couldn't run the ball. That was a complete game. Like that's not a complete game. Texas Tech was just in a weird spot. They just fired their coach. Apparently, according to some people I talked to, some of the players were like crying at practice. They were so upset about it. Like that wasn't a complete game. I mean, that wasn't an impressive win. It was Texas Tech. So like OU, they got to show something, right? It's clear, right? They're going to feel disrespected being at 8, and they should, because they're at Oklahoma, right? There's a certain level of respect you expect to get when you play there. That's just the truth.
Mm-hmm.
And those guys have to feel disrespected after that first ranking, and it's in their hands to go change people's minds, right?
Yeah.
It's up to them, right? They're the only ones that can change people's minds. And you've got every opportunity to do it because you got some really solid football teams left on your schedule.
I agree. And they better have a productive bye week, and they better have, all hands on deck, be ready to go against Baylor. Because you want to talk about not being able to run the ball against Texas Tech, who gave up 400 on the ground to TCU. Baylor, like nose guard, we struggle with big nose guards. I'm not even going to attempt his name, but he goes 6'4", 350 pounds.
Apu Ika.
What a name.
Yeah, he is. He's thick with 3 C's, not 2, 3. That dude thick. They fly around defensively, man. I've been watching them all week. Jalen Petrie, I mean, he may be my favorite player in college football. The guy is psychotic. The way he plays is whew.
I've never seen anyone
do the
play
preview
at
next
full
week,
speed.
of course, but whew.
There is no slowdown anywhere for him. It is straight up like no prisoners, all out.
Yeah, and
Bernard
and Doyle at linebacker, those dudes, they arrive with bad intentions. So yes, the Sooners need to have a very productive bye week. Okay, let's get to our call your shot, and just wanted to get y'all's reaction to OU being ranked number 8. This first one comes from Marlon Star Houston on Twitter. He says, not upset about it, win and get in, and to this point, the ranking might be deserved, but the reasoning from the committee when comparing to other teams was inconsistent at best and makes no sense. It was interesting. Gary Barta was just like, oh, they've been inconsistent on defense, but we like Caleb Williams. It's like, oh, thanks, Gary. Thanks for enlightening us.
Yeah, it was weird. And then I heard Heather Dinich say that it was hard whenever they were choosing between Wake Forest and Oklahoma at 8 and 9. And then she said, but the committee was impressed with Lincoln Riley and his decision to play Caleb Williams at quarterback. It's like they were impressed. Like, what does that even mean? Like, just tell me that they think Caleb Williams is a way better quarterback than the guy at Wake Forest. Don't tell me they're impressed with the decision to play him. What does that even mean?
What a brave decision he made.
Yeah, let's
Plus
put them at
one
8
for
because he
Oklahoma.
made a brave decision. That was weird.
That was weird. Okay, this other one comes from Keegan Jewell on Twitter. He says, "We control our destiny, and it's best timing for that. 2 highly ranked opponents coming up, and it's championship November. Only thing that brought me shock/anger/confusion was the reasoning on some of the rankings ahead of OU versus why OU was ranked so low. So it seems like most OU fans can accept the ranking, but they're a little confused on some of the reasoning that was applied to the teams in front of Oklahoma, which makes sense. Like, I have no idea why Ohio State's ranked in front of Cincinnati.
Right.
Cincinnati's got a better win. They're undefeated. What Ohio State gets credit for getting beat on their own field by a good Oregon team? Like, I'm fine with Oregon being 4, but how is Oregon 4 and Cincinnati not 5 and Ohio State 6?
I wish I had an answer for you.
What, because Ohio State beat up on a bunch of really bad teams? Now, I think Ohio State's better than Cincinnati, but it's just the reasoning is a little odd.
Let me throw a scenario at you real quick. What happens if, and we could do this all night, we don't need to, but this is the one that interests me. Georgia and Alabama, as long as Alabama wins out, beats Georgia in the SEC championship, do we agree that Georgia and Alabama will both be in?
Absolutely, yes. 100%.
Okay. So then we've got 2 spots available. Let's say Ohio State wins out, beats Michigan State, then beats, who's it going to be? Wisconsin, maybe, in the Big Ten championship. Would you agree that Ohio State will be in?
Correct. Ohio State will definitely be in.
Okay, so then we've got Oregon with 1 loss. We assume they win out. We've got Cincinnati. Let's say they win out, they're undefeated. And let's say OU wins out and they're undefeated.
So Cincinnati's out.
Okay, well, here's the interesting thing. If Michigan loses, okay, and Michigan State loses, then Notre Dame, and I think Wake Forest is probably going to lose. I think Notre Dame is probably, if they win out, going to be sitting at number 6. So with Cincinnati with the win over the number 6 team and they're undefeated, would that be enough to trump Oklahoma as an undefeated team?
Undefeated OU is getting in. This is why. If they go undefeated, Caleb Williams is going to be the favorite to win the Heisman Trophy. They are not playing the playoff without the guy that is first or second in the Heisman Trophy odds to draw people's eyeballs. It's just not happening. I mean, it's not going to happen.
Probably true. I think I agree with that.
He's already, I saw him at a couple books this week. He's already up to the 3rd best odds. He's only, at some places, he's only behind Bryce Young and Kenneth Walker to the 3rd. He's ahead of Matt Corral. He's ahead of CJ Stroud. So I don't think, because if OU goes undefeated, that means Caleb Williams is playing his ass off.
Yeah, true.
And you mentioned it, Ted. ESPN wants eyeballs. And At that point, if that happens, Caleb Williams is already arguably the most talked about college football player there is. And if that happens, everyone and their dog is going to be talking about him. ESPN wants a piece of that, even if it's just sacrificing OU to Georgia.
Yeah. It's weird, though, that if his Heisman odds are that high and everyone thinks that highly of him, that they would still put OU back where they did.
I mean, you heard Barta say it's because of the defense.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what he said. So it appears that OU's got 4 games to change the way that the committee feels about that defense. So
I
now,
think the
luckily,
4
they're getting
games are
healthier.
probably going to change their opinion about the offense, not about the defense.
Yeah. Playing some good defenses. But hey, you said it. Maybe we see the best version of Oklahoma.
That's right.
And some people are like, well, do they really need extra motivation? Listen, man, a lot of athletes are wired the same way, right? When you feel disrespected, it refocuses you. It changes things. It just does. I don't know why it does it, but it just does. So, but yeah, I was looking at the Caleb Williams Heisman stuff, and when you look at it, he's, because Bryce Young has LSU and Arkansas in the Iron Bowl left, and then possibly the SEC championship game. Now, if he rolls through all that and then he beats Georgia in the SEC championship game, he's going to win the Heisman Trophy, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's just going to happen. Kenneth Walker III, he's got some big opportunities. He's got Ohio State on November 20th. He's got Penn State on November 27th. Like, he already had a massive game against Michigan. So he's got a lot of momentum rolling. If he balls in both of those games, right, he's going to have a good chance as well. And Caleb Williams has Baylor, Iowa State, Oklahoma State in the Big 12 championship game. Going to be a lot of people interested in what he does in all those games. So I want to make it clear, I don't think he's going to win, but he has every opportunity to finish second or third.
Yeah. I think he'll probably be at the ceremony. Here's why I don't think he'll win it. And it has nothing to do with how good he is. It has everything to do with votes. It's about votes. You have to have people vote for you. No true freshman has ever won it. Not only has no true freshman ever won it, but no true freshman who didn't start the first, 5 games of the season. Like that, I can't imagine, and I could be wrong. I'm not judging him, and I'm not judging any of the other players. I'm judging the voters. I don't see the voters like breaking that tradition on Caleb Williams, whose numbers are good, but they're not like jaw on the floor good. I think the game against Tech is the first time he's thrown for over 300 yards.
Right. I think the biggest bullet point on his Heisman resume is just how he's kind of changed the team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, but I will say this. It also doesn't help that no one in the media knows nothing about him. No one knows anything about him. Haven't heard him talk. You got Kenneth Walker III on the playoff show, and Caleb Williams hasn't talked to anyone all season. I mean, I know that the rule is the rule, right? I understand that, right? It was the same rule when you and I were there. But that when it comes to the Heisman and that type of stuff, that stuff matters too. Like, because media members vote on it. And there's a lot of media members that don't know anything about Caleb Williams. Never even heard him speak.
Yeah.
That's not helping him. I know that.
Yeah. And I don't know anything about him. But Lincoln Riley is one of the smartest people walking around, man. And he knows that. He knows that in order to win the Heisman, he's going to have to open up his availability. I don't know if he's waiting until maybe after the bye, till after maybe they beat like a team like Baylor. And the only other reason I could think that he hasn't opened him up to talk to the media yet is he's worried he'll say something bad. But like, that's not me like suggesting that might happen. I don't know anything about the kid and the way that he speaks. I've never heard him talk either. But if Lincoln continues to keep him under wraps for some reason, that would be the only thing I could think of, right?
I don't know the kid at all. All I know is, what I've been able to observe being down on the sideline. Seems like an awesome dude.
Yeah.
I
Well,
mean, the
and he
team loves
handles
him.
himself like he doesn't handle himself like a true freshman that's, just barely been around.
Yeah, no. So we'll see. It's not like I don't care whether he's made available to the media or not. All I'm saying is that when it comes to those awards, like
They
one of
need
the
a
first
story,
things, so I
man.
vote for the Warfel Trophy, right? I won it. And when you win it, you get to vote. When I get this packet of players, one of the first things I do is I go and look for interviews that they've done. It's one of the first things I do. Like, I look at their social media, I look at some of the interviews, what they say publicly, what they say about the team, how they represent the team. Like, that stuff matters to me when voting for the award that I am on the voting committee for. So that's all I'm saying. Like that
It's
stuff
a
does
factor.
matter.
You got to have a story.
Exactly.
People vote for the story. A lot of times, like the story is what pushes someone over the edge. And the story is cool that as a true freshman, you come in and you take the job of a preseason Heisman favorite. Like that's all anyone knows of him right there. And maybe that's good enough.
Yeah. It's a pretty sweet story.
Yeah.
He's not going to win, but if I would
think he'll
like
be
for
at
him
the
to be a
ceremony.
finalist.
I think he will be.
And I think letting the kid talk a little bit could help. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
And I think it will happen. I think Lincoln knows what it means for recruiting. He knows that right now, like if they go the whole season without Caleb Williams being made available to the media, he knows that's going to be used against him on the recruiting trail, especially now in the world of NIL. He knows that. So, I mean, like you said, he's a smart guy. I'm sure, and I know he talked about it in his press conference this week with the media, but it'll be interesting. I think you're right. If they beat Baylor, maybe he opens it up. He's like, all right, or we finally beat someone good.
He's got to, but I think he's maybe protecting him from that as long as he can. But at some point, he's going to have to let people have a chance with him.
Yep. All right, let's get to the National College Football Roundup. But first, the only place to stop when you're road tripping is Love's Travel Stops. Love's has over 560 locations in 41 states, offering 24-hour access to clean and safe places. We've got a $25 game day gift card from Love's to give away each game week. So we're taking the week off. Sorry, people. Whatever your road trip needs are, Love's has it. Fuel, fresh food, all the drinks and snacks, and of course, my favorite, Java Amore. That coffee is fantastic. Love's also has you covered if you forget your phone charger or headphones. They've expanded their mobile to-go zone so you can grab any of that stuff there. Make sure you download the Love's Connect app for exclusive offers from today's most popular brands. The Love's Connect app also includes a route planner and store locator. When you see the red neon heart on the highway, stop in and say hi at Love's Travel Stops. For a full list of what Love's has to offer, visit loves.com. And make sure you bank at First Fidelity Bank. First Fidelity Bank is a full-service financial institution based in Oklahoma with tailored solutions for all your personal and business needs. Checking accounts, saving accounts, home loans, and much more. They do it all. Whether it's online banking from your computer or mobile banking from your phone, everything is stress-free with FFB. Making mobile deposits, paying bills online, and moving money to different accounts could not be easier. First Fidelity Bank also provides free ATMs worldwide, making banking convenient wherever you are. They also give back to the community. FFB donates a total of more than $500,000 to local charities and educational foundations. Make your life easier and go bank at First Fidelity Bank. Visit ffb.com for more information. Teddy, I saw you looking at the rundown and I see you smiling already. And yes, yeah, people, we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about Monkeygate. So normally in the National College Football Roundup, we just preview games. And we got two great games to preview for you. But first, we got to talk about it. I mean, it was the biggest story in all of sports for a solid, 12 to 18 hours. Okay. So I'm just going to go with a brief summary for everyone that doesn't know what Monkeygate is, and then we'll just kind of go from there. Sound good?
Sounds good.
Okay, here's my synopsis of the situation, people. Texas's special teams coordinator, Jeff Banks, he left his wife and kids for a stripper that goes by the name Pole Assassin. So that's the background info. Pole Assassin has an emotional support monkey that from time to time participates in her pole dancing act, which, by the way, she is very talented, great athlete, very impressive stuff from the videos I saw on the internet. They had a haunted house at their house on Halloween in, near the Austin area. And basically a little kid went to their backyard without permission, went somewhere he wasn't supposed to go, stuck his hand in the monkey's cage, the emotional support monkey's cage, and got bit. And the severity of the child's injuries are unclear, and they seem to be disputed. That sum it up?
That pretty much sums it up. Yes.
Okay. Did I miss anything?
No, I don't think so. I think that's what we know up to this point. Pretty good bullet points.
Okay, so if you just heard that and you're like, what are you talking about? First, do you live under a rock? Second, this is all true.
When I first saw the story, I was like, and I sent it over to Tyler McComas, who I do my radio show with, and I was like, I think it was Sunday night. I was like, we got to look at this. I don't know if it's true. It seems a bit far-fetched, but if it is, this is going to be amazing. And I guess it's true.
What is the weirdest part of this to you?
I'll tell you the weirdest part of it. The weirdest part of it is that Jeff Banks is the special teams coordinator and he makes $1 million a year. That's the weirdest part of the whole thing.
They say the man's a hell of a recruiter.
I could see that. He must be, but that's crazy. Other than that, what's the weirdest part? The name Pole Assassin. Does she go by that? You think?
That was everywhere. So I think that's like her stage name, which, by the way, is an absolutely fantastic name for a stripper. Like, if we're being real, I mean, it's fantastic. I mean, and if you saw the Jerry Springer clip, like, she is more like pole assault with what she does to that thing. Like, it is impressive stuff, man. I mean, athletic, it just feats of strength.
Feats of strength. Well said.
But I feel like this is okay. First of all, is the child the victim or is the monkey the victim? That's an important question because I think I'm team monkey. I know normally you side with humans over the animals. I understand that. But Pole Assassin told us the child was 11 or 12. I don't know. It was an 11/12 in the tweet. The tweet where she gave the tour of the backyard, laid it out very clearly. The kid knew he was wandering somewhere he wasn't supposed to wander. And I'm assuming it's a young boy because this seems like something a young boy would do, not a little girl. And then to stick your hand in the cage to walk through the gate that says do not enter. I mean, the kid kind of did it to himself, right?
I could see this happening as a group of kids walk up to the house and one of the kids is like, yo, that's Pole Assassin, dude. I've seen the videos. And Pole Assassin, that means she's got the monkey, right?
Where's the monkey?
We got to go find the monkey. Yeah, I don't know. I am definitely not team monkey. And I'll tell you why.
That surprises me because you are about the, like, you're the most like, hey, private property, bud guy I know.
Well, that is true. But here's the thing. There's no way that monkey is an emotional support monkey. I'm just telling you right now. Monkeys are evil. They are evil. They'll bite you. They'll try and claw your eyes out. They're terrible. I had a friend growing up that had a monkey. And whenever it was young, it was great. Everyone could play with it. Its name was Pam. And when it got older, you couldn't go anywhere near the thing at all. It was crazy. Monkeys they're evil, dude. They'll steal stuff from you. They'll attack you. They'll attack each other. They're terrible. There's no way, like an emotional support animal is like you cuddle up against the big golden retriever, right? And like someone like calms you down emotionally. There's nothing calm about a monkey. There's nothing calm about a monkey at all.
I feel like you're assuming a lot about this monkey. You don't know this monkey, man. Come on. Maybe it's a chill monkey. You don't know. Now it did just bite a kid, so but
Mm-hmm.
we don't know the monkey. We don't know the monkey. But I'm with you. I find it hard to believe that the monkey is bringing a significant calming presence to Pole Assassin's life. But hey, I don't know.
Let me tell you what Pam used to do. Okay?
Tell us more about Pam. Yeah.
Pam, if you had something like, if I had this ink pen and I'm clicking the ink pen and Pam could see like, now that thing's interesting. I could use that. I could do something with that weird clicker that you've got there. So it'd be in the cage and she'd stick her hand out and like kind of wave at you to hand the pin. And it's a monkey. It's a little monkey. It's cute. So if you walk over there close to the cage, it'll kind of lean in there with its hand and then it'll try and grab you and reach in there and grab you and pull you close to it. And they're strong as hell. You don't want to be anywhere near them, man. I'm just telling you. I've seen it. I've seen the shenanigans before. Pam,
So
Pam showed me the light.
You've been through what this kid went through.
Yeah. He expected like the monkey from Aladdin whenever he walked back there, like real nice and cute and dancing around. And little did he know in real life, those things are mean as hell.
Well, now he knows. And I know this. This is the absolute last thing that Steve Sarkisian needed right now.
Oh my God.
They're a 4-4 football team. They've got Iowa State in Ames this weekend. This is the last joke I want to make, right? So Jeff Banks, special teams coordinator, it all makes sense now. The fake punt against Baylor, it all makes sense. The monkey called it. It's the only explanation.
Monkey called the monkey may have ran it. Was the monkey the punter? Can we check on that?
Monkey pointed to it on the play sheet and said, "Run it, Jeff."
Yeah, I'd say the special teams coach's head was somewhere else on that one, but I don't even. How do you address that as if you're a head coach?
I would assume that by now all of the players know that Banks is married to an ex. Is she an ex stripper or does she still practice?
As far as I know, ex, but I don't know.
So I would assume the guys knew, right? I feel like that's something like I remember there being stories about it when Jeff Banks was leaving Bama to go to Texas. And I was like, oh, that's funny. Guy left his family for a stripper. I mean, not the first guy to do that.
Right? Like, didn't Overshone say like a month or so ago that he wanted a pet monkey or something like that?
Yeah, and Kwiatkowski, the defensive coordinator, said, no, you don't. Yeah, it's on Twitter. I remember it.
That's right.
Like, what?
Yeah, he knows. He's seen those monkeys before.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. I did not know I was going to be so amused by your monkey analysis. Oh, that was fantastic. Okay. Number 11, Oklahoma State at West Virginia. All of a sudden, a game that is more interesting than I thought it was going to be. I mean, you got Oklahoma State coming off what can only be described as a massacre of Kansas. West Virginia has gotten back on track, right? Right after we left them for dead, man, they've rattled off wins against TCU and Iowa State. And when you look at what West Virginia has done in the last couple of games, that they've been able to run the football with Letty Brown. In the games they've lost this season, West Virginia has struggled to run the rock. I mean, bottom line, I went and looked at Letty Brown's game-by-game stats. Letty Brown has averaged 57.5 yards rushing in their 4 losses. Although I do think West Virginia's O-line is playing a little better right now. I disagree with Mike Gundy. I don't think they're the best O-line in the Big 12, but I think Oklahoma State's defensive line could get after that group. I really do. I think they can shut Letty Brown down. Jarrett Dagey and that passing game, it's dependent on the run game, right? He's not, if he's got to drop back 30, 40 times in a game, The odds are not in West Virginia's favor. And I think the running game's going to struggle, which will make Daggy struggle. And he's proven he will throw it to you. I mean, the pick six he threw against Iowa State was comical. I mean, it was hilarious. Yeah. But it will be interesting to see if Spencer Sanders can continue to play good football and continue to value the football. I mean, he's taking care of it the last couple games. And I don't think it's going to be a massive day on the ground for Jaylen Warren. I really don't, because I do think having a healthy Akeem Mesidor back and Dante Stills is looking good. I think Oklahoma State could struggle with that front from West Virginia, similar to the way that OU struggled with them. But I just think Oklahoma State's a better team, man. I know West Virginia has found something here these last couple of weeks, but give me Oklahoma State. I think they're good, man.
I agree. I don't know. West Virginia looked terrible for a stretch, and then now all of a sudden they look really good. It's odd. We know their defensive line is a strong point. I think their defense in general is pretty good, West Virginia's. But I think offensively they are seriously going to struggle against Oklahoma State. I don't think that they've got the explosiveness. I don't think they've got the ability to move Oklahoma State off the football in order to run it. I think Oklahoma State's defense is just too good. And Spencer Sanders has been better, but I don't even think Spencer Sanders has to be anything special in order for them to beat West Virginia. And I know West Virginia just beat Iowa State. And how, whenever Iowa State looked like they were just starting to play their best ball, I don't know how that happens, but we've seen Iowa State do stuff like that before. When we have with Oklahoma State as well, but I just think their defense is that good that West Virginia is not going to have enough for them. But heck, I don't know. Spencer Sanders goes and turns the football over 2 or 3 times. West Virginia could be right there in the fight. I think it's going to be really low scoring though. I'm
with you. Yeah, I think it's a game in the 20s for sure. So we'll see. But yeah, I won't lie. I'm way more interested in that game than I would have been a couple weeks ago.
Oklahoma State, I know that West Virginia's just beat Iowa State, and it's got me a little hesitant on how to pick this, but I've got a feeling that Oklahoma State goes in there and just destroys them. I've got a bit of a hunch that might happen.
That would be good for Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Be good for Oklahoma. Set up. We're going to keep building up that bedlam that is coming soon. Now I know OU's got other things to worry about, but that's important. Okay,
we can't afford for any of those teams to lose a game before we play them,
right?
Or after we play them. Can't afford for that to happen.
All right, number 13 Auburn at number 14 Texas A&M, the 2:30 CBS SEC game, and two teams that still have a chance to win the SEC West. I mean, Auburn controls its own destiny, right? I mean, they got to beat A&M, then obviously got to beat Bama in the Iron Bowl. But if Texas A&M wins this one, all they really need is Auburn to beat Bama. And they got the tiebreaker over Bama, and then they'd win the SEC West. So these teams aren't out of it. I know we're talking about Bama's number 2, but both these teams, they're not out of it. And Auburn coming off a really solid win over Ole Miss. A&M coming off a bye. Heard Jimbo Fisher talk about it. Sounds like they're feeling really good about where they're at as a team, especially when it comes to the health of the team now. And man, just when I look at this game, I think the most important question is, will the good version of Bo Nix continue to show up?
Yeah.
He's been really good for the last month, Ted.
It's wild. And I wouldn't have picked, I picked against him, and I think I have a couple of different times, and he's proved me wrong. He's turned into a playmaker, and he's been adequate in the passing game. Obviously they got Tank Bigsby in the running game, and their defense is really stout. Auburn's really good, but I can't really get my finger on the conference. It's tough with Texas A&M. I honestly don't know how to pick them. Like if I'm saying who's the better team, I think it's Auburn, and I don't really even think it's that close. But Kyle Field, place is going to be nuts. It's a tough atmosphere. I mean, maybe it's probably going to be a close game, but if I have to pick on the team alone, I've got to go with Auburn.
My gut, everything in my gut is telling me to pick Auburn, right? I think Bigsby and Jarquez Hunter will have some success running the ball, but dude, I still think A&M's defense is solid, right? Especially the defensive front. Like I think that's a really solid group, but I could also see Isaiah Spiller and Devon A-Chain like having some success on the ground for A&M. Auburn's passing attack has kind of taken off lately. I've got serious doubts about Zach Calzada and what A&M can do in the passing game, but I think Jalen Weidemeyer and Anais Smith, I think those two guys are better than anyone Auburn's got at those positions. So I think the big advantage comes with this game being at Kyle Field, man. I think that is a big advantage. We saw Auburn go to Penn State, right? But I think A&M's going to win this game, and I really don't know why, because everything is telling me to pick Auburn. But I don't know. I'm taking A&M.
Yeah, I know. That's the weird thing is I honestly, it's hard to pick it. I really don't know. Auburn, I think that they've been pretty stout. They've been pretty steady. That win over Ole Miss looked pretty good. They went
Nick's
in
looked
and
awesome.
Yeah, he did. And he went in whenever Arkansas was still fairly hot and looked good against Arkansas. In a game I picked against them there too. So I don't know. I guess oddly, give me Bo Nix over Calzada. As crazy as that is to say, I never thought I'd be saying that, but here we are.
I will say A&M's defense, I do think it's better than some of the defenses that Bo Nix has played well against, right? We'll see,
true.
man. But it's a really interesting game that, when I was looking at it, I was like, damn, I didn't realize what was on the line. Like it's a big time football game.
Yeah. I guess Mississippi State has a chance. Well, no, they can't do it because they would never get the that's funny that it's just played out the way it has in the West, that as soon as someone beats Alabama, things really change. You're not used to it, but my guess is down the stretch they'll be just fine.
Yeah, I'm used to not paying attention to the SEC West like at all, just because it's kind of like the Big 12. You pencil the team that's in crimson in. All right. Let's get to wet the beak. But first, do you own a business? If you do, you need Insurica in your life. Insurica is one of the country's largest insurance brokers with 30 offices throughout Oklahoma, Texas, and the Southwest. Insurica is able to customize programs by accessing the latest information from many insurance carriers. They compare and contrast coverage offerings and pricing and will design a cost-effective, comprehensive program to meet your business's specific needs. Insurica's clients become best-in-class businesses by working with Insurica's team of advisors to manage risk. Purchasing insurance is only one way to protect your business. Best-in-class businesses win by avoiding a loss in the first place. If your business partners with Insurica, you'll save huge amounts of money and take back control of your total cost of risk. I'm an Insurica client, and you should be too. If your business wants to be best in class, connect with Insurica at insurica.com. That's INSURICA.com.
Guys, fall is here, but does the weather really matter? It's always hard seltzer season, baby, and there's only one hard seltzer that we drink on this podcast, and that is Sonic Hard Seltzer from Coop Ale Works. It's perfect for any occasion. We drink it in the hot tub, by the fire, and at the tailgate. You can buy 12 packs of the iconic Sonic Drive-In flavors like cherry limeade and ocean water, or you can grab a citrus variety pack or a tropical variety pack. Find it at your local grocery, convenience, and liquor stores.
All right, Wet the Beak was going to do the Green Bay Packers at the Kansas City Chiefs. It's a pick 'em, or it was. I'm going to the game. That's why I wanted to do it. Full disclosure, where I'm going to see Blake Bell in Kansas City. I'm going to this game. I was like, I want to break it down with you, Ted. I was all excited. I'm going to be there. Patrick Mahomes is going to be on the field. Aaron Rodgers is going to be there.
Jackson Mahomes.
Jackson Mahomes will be dancing somewhere. But Aaron Rodgers isn't going to be there, man. I mean, what the hell, Rodgers?
This situation is weird. So he said he was, well,
immunized.
I guess immunized, but he hasn't been following like the protocols if you're unvaccinated, right?
He has been, so he's been following some of them from everything I read. Okay. He's been following them inside the building, but like the pregame and postgame, or like the practice interviews and after the game interviews, he has not been doing what the unvaccinated guys have been doing. I guess the unvaccinated guys for them have been doing them by Zoom, and he's just been in like the media pool. So he's been doing some of the unvaccinated stuff, but not.
And now they're under some type of league investigation, right?
I would assume so, because this was relatively big news. Okay. My favorite part about it, right, is, and I think the most interesting thing about the whole Rodgers situation is the report that he did some sort of homeopathic or holistic immunization treatment. And all I can't stop imagining like Aaron Rodgers in the middle of the desert, like in a teepee on ayahuasca, like just tripping balls. Like that's what's in my head. And he's like, dude, I'm good. COVID ain't going to get me now. Like that's what comes to my head when I hear homeopathic and holistic immunization treatment.
He had an alien come talk to him about COVID and that he's never going to get it. Probably did. That's great. Yeah. That's going to be an interesting one to follow right there and see what comes of that.
Yeah. Okay. But since that game has lost its sizzle, the Cleveland Browns at the Cincinnati Bengals has not. And there's a lot of OU flavor in this game, right? Cincinnati, they're coming off I'll call it a wake-up call loss to Mike White in the Jets. And then Cleveland, it feels like they're limping into this one, man. I mean, they had the weird stuff with Odell Beckham Jr.'s dad posting videos of OBJ being open and saying stuff about Baker. That was just weird. I mean, what now? Odell Beckham Jr. is being told to stay at home, and they're like trying to figure out whether he's part of the team or not. I don't know, man. It doesn't seem like the vibes are very good in Cleveland, Ted.
No, it does not. It's always weird whenever this stuff goes down. I feel like Baker is obviously nagged by the shoulder. I feel like they've been able to really protect that offense by running the football really well. We know they've had a ton of injuries on the offensive line and in the backfield. I think that's affected them. Jarvis Landry was out for an extended time. I feel like Cleveland's going to start to get some of that offense back as they get healthier. They found the Johnson kid at running back, who's a pretty good little player himself. So I think Cleveland shockingly gets it done.
Ooh.
Yeah, I think that Cincinnati was on a bit of a run there. They've come back down to earth and looked a little more like what we thought they were, but we know that they're capable of some really good stuff. But I don't know. I like Cleveland getting a little bit healthier. I think Baker, for whatever reason, tends to thrive in these type of situations when things are starting to get weird, and someone has now called him out, and he's got the wife backing him on this situation. So if I can get Cleveland, get 2.5, give it to me.
I'm going with the Bengals, man. Right.
Yeah.
And well, you mentioned the O-line problems, right? Jack Conklin being out, that's big. Right. What did he do? Like dislocate his elbow? Oh, that sounds awful. But that ain't gonna help things. This now maybe the Odell Beckham Jr. thing is like an addition by subtraction situation for that team. Maybe he hadn't been great in the locker room and he's wearing on guys. That's very possible. But they just aren't scoring very many points, man. And it's hard to go on the road and beat a good team when you can't score. And even though they just lost to the Jets, I still think the Bengals are a good team. Joe Burrow certainly is going to want to make up for that late mistake in that loss last week. The defense is going to want to prove that their performance last week isn't who they are. So, I mean, for me, all signs point to the Bengals in this one, man.
How do you explain away the Jets game, though, with White at quarterback?
Mike White had the day of his life.
Yeah.
I mean, he threw it all around the yard, man.
Yeah. Well,
maybe when Mike White steps in at quarterback, it's very possible they were a little taken off guard by them just throwing it all around. I don't know.
Yeah. What, they picked him off a couple of times early too, right?
Yeah, twice.
So, yeah, probably let the guard down a little bit. They were up. They had a pretty good lead. Yeah, I don't know.
An 11-point lead in the fourth quarter.
Here's the thing. I think the pressure's on Cleveland right now. And
oh, yeah.
They've had a ton of injuries, but no one cares, right? Like, no one cares. It doesn't matter who's out. Find a way to win games, or we'll find players and coaches that can. So I think their backs are against the wall here. They're going to be fighting a serious uphill battle if they don't win this one.
Yeah.
It may slip away for them.
No, I'm with you. All right, let's get to our winners and losers of the weekend. But first,
are you unhappy with the surface around your pool? Are you not pleased with your patio? Soft Rock specializes in installing safe rubber surfacing for pools, patios, gym floors, and other outdoor spaces. Soft Rock's rubber safety surfacing provides a long-lasting surface that is impact and slip resistant, fully customizable, and virtually indestructible. Local business owners Heidi and Cody Clark are avid OU fans that are driven to help you with all of your pool and patio surfacing needs. Visit softrock.com/OKC. That's SOFTROC.com/OKC for more information. The Clarks also own the Driveway Company. The Driveway Company has tailored solutions to eliminate all of your driveway problems. They can repair cracks, clean and seal your rotting grass-filled joints to prevent water damage, ultimately saving you thousands of dollars in future repairs. Visit thedrivewaycompany.com/OKC for all of your driveway repair needs. Learn more about Soft Rock and the Driveway Company by visiting their Facebook and Instagram pages or by calling 405-294-9834.
And don't forget to send your kids to Bishop McGinnis Catholic High School. Bishop McGinnis Catholic High School has a long tradition of educational excellence. With a 12-to-1 student-to-teacher ratio, no student is overlooked. Bishop McGinnis's college prep curriculum offers 22 AP courses. There are numerous clubs and organizations for students to join. And as a proud member of the OSSAA, there are 14 sports offered. If you want to provide the best possible educational and spiritual development for your children, contact Bishop McGinnis Catholic High School or visit bmchs.org. Financial aid is available. As always, Ted, kick us off. Who do you have as your winner of the week?
Well, I don't know. Who is it? Would you say Von Miller is the winner? The Rams are the winner? Matthew Stafford is the winner? Like
Aaron Donald?
Aaron Donald is the winner. Who do we credit? Because I know Von Miller's getting $9 million of that 9.8 salary this year that they're just going to cut him a check for that. So it's got to be Von Miller.
Vaughn is a tremendous teammate. I will say that. Guy throws a heck of a party.
Did you go to a Halloween party there?
I unfortunately barely missed it. But I did attend a poker night. And oh boy. Vaughn knows what he's doing, man. Knows what he's doing. He's a tremendous teammate. But I did.
Great host, huh?
Unfortunately, I missed the Halloween party. I was
sure
a
you've
couple
heard
weeks
some tales
too late.
though, right?
Vaughn knows how to throw a party. That's what I'll say, man. That's all I'm saying.
Gotcha.
No,
Enough
but
said.
In that situation, first of all, I'm happy for Von Miller. It's so interesting how the Rams treat draft picks. It's like, take them. We don't want them. They just don't believe in it. They're all in. So yeah, I think Stafford's winner, but I think Aaron Donald's the biggest winner in this whole thing, right? Because when you look at it, when you're game planning for the Rams, everything you do is focused on him, right? Or at least that's how it was when I was playing, when we were playing against him. Played against him a couple different times, and it was like, hey, where's 99? We're sending everything his way on everything we do. Like, we're not letting him wreck the game. All of a sudden, when you're game planning, it's also like, and I know Vaughn's not the same player he was a couple years ago, right? But he's still Von Miller. Like, he's still got some gas in the tank.
He's going to win some one-on-ones out there on the edge.
That's what I'm saying. Like, if all of a sudden, everyone's still showing Aaron Donald all the attention, and Vaughn's getting a bunch of one-on-ones when he spent his career having the protection slide his way, all of a sudden he starts producing, then maybe Aaron Donald's getting some more one-on-ones, which is a terrifying thought for some interior linemen. So I feel like Donald's the biggest winner in this whole thing.
Maybe. He may be. I know this. The Rams they're saying we're winning a Super Bowl. It doesn't matter what it takes. And they've put together a heck of a team, man.
Did you happen to see the GIF the Rams Twitter used? Did you see that?
No, I didn't.
So it's the one from Rounders where he like puts all the chips in, and everyone was like, yeah, that's great, but didn't he lose that hand?
That's the wrong guy there. Yeah. That's funny.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Maybe
all
it's some foreshadowing there.
Yeah. Yeah. I was like, Who do you have as your loser of the week?
I had to go with Odell Beckham Jr. as the loser. Dad puts out the social media post.
I knew you were being suspiciously quiet when I brought that up.
Yeah, I couldn't burn my loser. Baker's wife is chiming in now. But here's the thing, man. The trade deadline is come and gone. And the Browns said, yeah, we didn't get any offers that were worth a flip for you. So I'm not going to trade him. Well, now they're telling him not to show up to a game, which that means you're about to get cut. All right. And if you're about to get cut, I got news for you. There's not a very good market for guys that are always hurt, have a history of dropping the football as a wide receiver, and create problems in the locker room. The market for that guy is very, very, very low. So Odell, man, I'm telling you, had a like a 2 or 3 year flash where he looked like he was going to be unbelievable. His persona got in the way, and I think he has passed his time to be a big time producing receiver.
I think it's hard for people to realize that he's just not that good of a wide receiver anymore.
Yeah.
He's not what he once was, man. He's been hurt, and they weren't insignificant injuries. right? And
Yeah.
I'm not saying like he still can't be serviceable, but the one hand catching, like doing things that make your jaw drop, that guy's gone, in my opinion.
Drops the ball way too much. He dropped the ball way too much whenever he was making all those crazy catches. He was dropping the routine one and making the crazy one.
And the other thing about him is like, it's not like he's cheap. So you talked about all the issues. I mean, there's a certain number of issues you're willing to deal with as it relates to the talent level and to the price of a player.
There's a direct correlation with how much you can get away with and how much production you have.
And Odell Beckham Jr. is not doing himself any favors in that regard at all.
Nope. Not a good market for a wide receiver in his position right now.
But LeBron James said that they need to free OBJ. So by God, free the man.
Probably go to the Rams. You know, who knows? Although they're loaded. They're good.
Yeah, I don't know if Sean McVay would want to shake up the chemistry.
Who would?
Odell would be pissed that Cooper Kupp's getting all those balls.
Who would want to bring him into their situation? If you're winning, who wants to mess up the way things are operating? If you're losing, who wants to bring him into a losing locker room and make things even worse? Yeah, I don't know, man. He'll catch on somewhere at some point, but it's going to be for way cheaper than he ever thought he'd be playing football for.
I'm with you. All right, I'm with you. All right. If you are a whiskey or bourbon drinker, stop what you're doing. Head to your favorite liquor store and buy some Balcones products. You got to grab some of Balcones Lineage Single Malt Whiskey. It was just voted one of the top 20 whiskeys in the world by Whiskey Advocate, and you'll be shocked by how affordable it is. Okay, Ted, we did have a request. Someone would like for you to say it's made from blue corn. That's fancy corn. So when we get to that part, this was a straight up request that we got. So also you got to snag some about Balcones baby blue corn whiskey.
It's made from blue corn. That's the fancy corn.
And that's why it has won more than 25 awards. Last but certainly not least, you got to buy some of Balcones pot still bourbon. Its big flavors make it perfect bourbon to drink year round. In 2012, Balcones Single Malt won the Best in Glass competition, beating brands like Johnny Walker and Macallan, and became the first American distillery ever to win the competition. This stuff is the real deal, people. If you love great whiskey and bourbon at a great price, then Balcones products are the only way to go. The whiskey may be made in Texas, but the owners are from Oklahoma. To find a liquor store that has it, visit balconesdistilling.com. Dude, I don't make the rules. I take the requests from the listeners, man.
I'm like the worst actor ever. You've got my lines for me, and then you have to be like,
line,
and no.
line. Okay, so for winner of the week, thought about going with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Boy, I know the Thunder are 1-6. I know they blew a 9-point lead with 2 minutes and 44 seconds to go against the Clippers on Monday night because I was watching it and I was sad. But man, I'm telling you right now, SGA is damn good now, and it's fun to watch. And his shot making has gone to a different level this season, and he still is getting that weird stuff. He gets to the rim in weird ways, and he's adding to that. He's stronger now, so he can absorb a little more contact. But clearly the thing that is standing out to me and to everyone that is watching the Thunder play. By the way, Ted, are you even watching the Thunder games? You don't have to lie.
I don't watch the NBA until Christmas.
Okay. That's fair. I think a lot of people are kind of like that, by the way.
I have a very limited amount of things that I can keep up with.
Okay. Well, then this is important for you to hear since you haven't seen him do it. So he has developed this like side step into a three that like almost hits the ceiling. and he's really good at it. But it's clearly something he worked on all off season, and he's creating a lot of space to get his jumper off. And number one, it looks really cool. Number two, he's having some success shooting the ball that way. He's also really developed, off the dribble, step back, stop and shooting a jump shot. And man, it looks good. I mean, his movements are still awkward as hell, but that's just his body. He can't help that. But it's fun to watch. And probably the only thing that has me more excited than SGA's scoring is Josh Giddey. Oh my gosh. He's amazing. Sign him to a lifetime contract, Ted. I know you haven't seen the kid play. You're going to love him when you see him.
I've seen some highlights of him, like whenever they're playing and like they're tweeting some of the highlights out. I'm shocked with how fluid he is.
Okay.
It's a weird, it's so fluid. It's interesting. It's weird.
We were led to believe, remember going into the draft, we were led to believe that this guy was some just like awful athlete that could barely shoot the basketball. Like they almost made it sound like he had trouble physically getting it to the rim.
Right.
The shot looks great. I mean,
Yeah.
the percentages aren't out of this world, but they're fine. His handle is fantastic. His vision is fantastic. The speed he plays at is great. Like he pushes the hell out of the ball in transition. I mean, he went right at Paul George in crunch time on Monday night. Blew by him, laid it in, and then pulled up, dribble, pull up right in his face. Like I was sitting there going, oh Lord, take me. This is amazing. Like I couldn't have been happier. I was just sitting there with a big smile on my face.
How good do you think you can get?
That's a great question. I don't
Dude,
know.
he's young.
It's 19 years old.
Yeah. How old is Luka?
Early 20s. I mean, not old at all.
Yeah.
But can he get to Luka's level? I don't know, man. I mean,
well, I'm not saying. I was just wondering like what age he was, because he had some good success right out of the gate. And I know that he played professionally for a couple of years overseas, and I know Giddey has, but I wasn't sure if maybe he was a little bit more veteran whenever he came into the NBA than Giddey.
That is a great question. And I don't know. I think that, I mean, Luka can't be that old.
No.
Right? Let's look at it. This is great podcasting right here. Me Googling Luka Doncic's age. Well, because
I think he's
was 22.
22. Yeah.
So
because he was playing professionally like at a really young age, So yeah, crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. All I know is I'm excited. But sorry, I went down a rabbit hole there. I apologize. My winner of the week, the Atlanta Braves. Right. And we rarely talk baseball on here, but it was pretty cool seeing them win for the first time since 1995. I remember that team in 1995. Like I was only 5 years old, but I remember I had the Greg Maddux baseball with all the grips on it. And I was like, dude, I'm the next Greg Maddux. There's absolutely no doubt. Turns out not so much, but just happy for the city of Atlanta. It was cool seeing Freddie Freeman win a title. If you haven't kind of dug into his story, it's pretty interesting. But even though Freddie Freeman hits the home run and Joe Buck is like, in what may be the last at bat as an Atlanta Brave, and all the Atlanta fans were like, what the hell, Joe? Why did that have to be part of the call? He was getting roasted on Twitter.
I'll just tell you this. There is no chance the Braves are letting him go. He's about to get paid.
They should. That city appears to love that man, but I just enjoy watching teams celebrate a championship. It's fun. And it was a boring ass game, man. 7-0.
Boring series?
There's no drama.
Yeah.
It was very boring, but still cool. I caught up on Succession in between like the fifth and the last out. And I was like, all right, I'm done. I got 2 episodes in, turned the game on, watched him win.
You
But
missed the nothing too in between there.
yeah, missed nothing.
Zero.
Missed nothing. But it also didn't suck watching the Astros lose. I won't lie. But did you see the guy that predicted that this would happen back in 2016? Did you
No,
see this tweet?
no.
So this guy named Cole Rogers, he was texting his buddy and he was like, hey, when we graduate, the Astros will beat, the Braves will beat the Astros in 6 games in the 2021 World Series. And it was like on October 25th, 2016, when he tweeted the screenshot of it.
Wow.
Sorcerer.
That's crazy. Hey, it was an exciting game for that guy, right?
Oh,
Can you
hell
imagine? Yeah. That's awesome.
If I just really hope that guy made a lot of money, because that's like the longest, the furthest one back that I've ever seen where someone called something like that. I was like, damn, it was 5 years ago.
He got his hand on that sports almanac, I guess, right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Awesome.
Okay. Loser of the week. Whew. Thought about going with Henry Ruggs. I mean, we keep it lighthearted on here for the most part, but what an awful life-altering mistake. I mean, driving drunk, driving over 150 miles an hour, killed a 23-year-old woman and her dog. There's no excuse, man. I don't know what else to say. And he's going to go to prison for a while, man.
Yep.
I mean, they're going to make an example out of him.
Yep.
Shouldn't have happened. Should never happen. It's annoying.
He's probably going to spend the max for that charge is 20 years in prison. Obviously a bunch of fines. I don't know, the reckless driving charge that they can tag on it. I don't know. I think it's got a max of 6 years, but I don't know if that's tagged on the top or you serve it together. But man, just it's heartbreaking for so many different reasons.
Just take an Uber.
The frustrating, there's a million things about it that are frustrating, but he's driving 156 and what it looked like to me, that's a surface street. That wasn't even a highway. Not that it would have been okay on a highway, but like there's a stoplight there and it's like in a neighborhood. It's horrible.
It's idiotic. I will say this. When I was playing for the Titans, they had a car service that would come pick you up anywhere, any night of the week. If you took an Uber, they'd pay you back in cash. I don't know. I hope the league has something in place by now. I don't know. Right? I guess I could ask some of the guys that are still playing, but for an NFL player, and I'm not trying to, it's not okay for anyone to drink and drive, right? We all know that it's wrong. We all know it's dumb. We all know it's incredibly selfish. And there are so many options now, right? There's just no excuse. But the league needs to make it damn near impossible for these guys to do this. Like, it would not cost a lot of money for them to do it. And maybe guys would still do it because, guys are, at times they're dumb. But I just think the NFL, especially after this, like this, not only was it everything, everyone in sports was talking about, this was on the national news, all that stuff. They got to do something. And maybe they already did. So I could just be saying all that for nothing.
Well, here's one of the things that all the teams they have a driving service and they have all that there and it's provided for you. But here's the thing, man. NFL guys already feel like the team is trying to keep tabs on what you're doing. And that even though it's like, this is there for you, and this is honestly to keep you guys safe and to keep everyone on the roadway safe, the guys, I don't think would use it because they feel like it will be used against them. You know, does that make sense? And I
Yeah,
don't know
but
that it would or wouldn't, and it's not a good excuse, but that's not a, like, that's not a reason to get behind the wheel. I'm just saying that's a reason like they don't use the team stuff,
right.
right? It's as
That's why I
easy as
think
it's easier than it's ever been to get a ride with Lyft or Uber. I mean, that's in the history of mankind, it's never been easier to get a ride home.
just build it in the NFLPA dues, right?
Yeah.
Just make it a PA thing. Don't even involve the league.
Yep.
And once again, that could already exist, and we could just be coming up with these great ideas for no reason. But I just there's got to be something in place. There's got to be. Okay, but my loser of the week, Oklahoma State basketball. Okay, I'm gonna try to stay calm here, Ted. The NCAA rejected Oklahoma State's appeal and has banned them from the NCAA tournament this year, the NCAA tournament this year, all because an assistant coach 5 years ago took some money from people and then tried to play some players at Oklahoma State and it didn't even work. Didn't even get it done. And at one point, Jeffrey Carroll got $300, which he paid back. That got not only they've got a reduction in scholarships, they're on probation, they've got recruiting restrictions, and they don't get to play in the NCAA tournament this year. And even though when OSU found out, they fired Lamont Evans' ass immediately. And even though the NCAA didn't charge Oklahoma State with any of the major violations, Oklahoma State didn't get lack of institutional control. That the NCAA investigation, they said they didn't even find any recruiting violations for Oklahoma State. And the players, the current players for Oklahoma State, are being punished for something that happened 5 years ago that they had absolutely no part in. It is the dumbest thing the NCAA does. It is ridiculous. It makes the NCAA look like a joke. And they never, the worst thing Oklahoma State did was cooperate. They never should have done that. They never should have trusted the NCAA. When they came out and said they were cooperating, I said, no, don't do that. Right? Because we saw what happened in Missouri when they cooperated. And then we saw what happened in North Carolina when they fought it like hell with lawyers.
Kansas. Same.
Kansas. Yeah. So
documented evidence with Kansas, and the NCAA comes in and they just say, nope, sorry, no, we disagree. We're fighting it. We appeal. We're going to drag this thing out and stonewall forever.
I will say this. I love Mike Boynton. I've had the pleasure of interviewing him a lot on my Sirius show. So, me liking him, it certainly factors into the way how I feel about this. I know it does, because I have a lot of respect for him and the way that he goes about his business and the way that he's building that program. But I don't understand, like the NCAA, right? Their whole thing is we do what is best for the student athletes, right? That's the whole thing, right? They're supposed to care about the kids. They're supposed to care about the players. This is bullshit. This isn't caring about the players. It's not caring about the kids. It's punishing these kids for something that Lamont Evans did. It makes no sense. I mean, it makes absolutely no sense. They're punishing kids for something that happened 5 years ago. And for them to hand down this ruling a couple days before the season starts is even worse. And I'm sure you saw Mike Boynton's press conference, Ted. Yeah. Man, I agree. No one should ever cooperate with the NCAA again, ever. because they're a joke. The fact that they gathered all this information, did this investigation, had Oklahoma State cooperating every step of the way, and did this to them is absolute bullshit.
Yeah, I agree. It is. I agree with what he says about cooperating with the NCAA. I don't think anyone should ever cooperate with anything that they say. That doesn't mean that I think people should cheat, but whenever the punishment like this doesn't fit the crime, and whenever the punishment is selectively enforced to certain teams and not other teams, here's why I think the NCAA is one of the scummiest, just vile organizations there is. They shove down our throat nonstop about how great they are and about how they're there to help the student athlete and how they're a champion for diversity. And they tell us nonstop. They run commercials to tell us how great they are. Think about that. But we know that they don't care about any of that stuff. All you have to do is take just a skin deep dive into any of their rulings and things that they've done. And the list of horrible things that they've done to players and coaches and programs. And it's terrible. Now, here's the thing. It's very simple, and I think it just points directly as to why I think they're scummy as hell. Why did they issue the ruling now and not last year?
Because of Cade Cunningham.
Because of Cade Cunningham. Because the number 1 draft pick, overall pick, they wanted him to play in the tournament. Why did the NCAA want him to play in the tournament? Because the NCAA is the only championship that they run is the basketball championship, right? That's their cash cow. That's where they get all of their money by that tournament. So they wanted to make as much money as they could. So they allowed Cade Cunningham to play in the tournament, and they would just wait. No big deal. We'll issue the punishment next year. It's scummy as hell. It's dirty as hell. It's rotten. It's pathetic. It's vile.
And that's how we feel about that.
Mm-hmm.
I think we've established not big fans of the NCAA.
Nope.
I will say Bob Bowlesby came out and said that as of now, Oklahoma State can't play in the Big 12 tournament. They should find a way to make that right. They should find a way to make it right. I'm just saying, you said it. The punishment does not fit the crime. I don't know. Maybe this is the NCAA hanging on to what little power it has left before it gets destroyed. But them doing stuff like this is only going to expedite the process of people wanting to destroy them, to break away from them. Stuff like this. They're not doing themselves any favors.
The only way that the NCAA takes notice is if you hurt their bank account, right? That's the only way they take notice. And the only way that they could get this thing treated right and rectified would be that other institutions get their back and say, nope, if this is how it's going to be, we're not going to play. We're not going to pay. And that's a big thing to do, and no one wants to risk that. But that's the only way they would learn their lesson.
Yeah, Oklahoma State banned from the NCAA tournament over like $300. Meanwhile, Kentucky's entire basketball team just signed an NIL deal with like an NFT distributor. What are we doing, people? I mean, what are we doing? And on that note, episode 161 in the books. We'll have a new podcast.
Yeah.
We'll have a new podcast that'll drop Monday morning. Toby Rowland, our guy.
Yeah.
Gonna recap OU season up to this point and have some fun with our man T-Row. Just a reminder, you can hear Teddy from 2 to 6 on 94.7 The Ref. You can hear me from 3 to 5 on Sirius XM Big 12 Radio, channel 375. Hope you all have a great weekend. Until next time, we appreciate y'all for listening. Do what you always do, Oklahoma. Take care of each other.